Hello, everyone. Welcome to Random Encounter 271 or 271. My name is Jono, Logan, and you know what? We don't have a lot of time this week for preamble or talking about what's going on in the world because it is Not-E3, and the weekend is over. There are still some shows to come. Quite a few shows, actually. Not-E3 is a little bit more spread out than usual, but a lot of the big ones have happened and the big news has dropped. So we decided we're just going to do it, and we're going to focus in on all of the shows that have happened thus far. So joining me today is an all-star panel. Welcome, fearless leader Mike.
Hello, I'm here.
Awesome. Hilary.
Hi.
Alvin.
Hello.
And a returning champion from last year's Not-E3, Stephanie.
I don't even remember that.
I mean, you show up at every Not-E3 or E3 presentation. It's a joy. I love it.
Live from our respective homes this year.
As every year.
Well, not the E3 years. I still miss it. It leaves a bit of a sore spot.
For you, it was a sore spot for you. My first one was supposed to be 2020. I was so excited. But, oh well. It's not like maybe I get to go to E3 next year.
Well, maybe you can go to Summer Game Fest next year, because now there is an event at least.
Yeah, there are opportunities for other shows.
Yeah.
There are opportunities for other shows, and maybe we'll indulge in that. But the fact that it's a little bit more
digital tickets to digital events.
That it's decentralized now it makes it a little bit more difficult to justify a single trip.
That's totally fair.
Yeah.
Especially when you're in Canada.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's dive right in with some of the shows that were going on. So the first show of the week, well, technically the first show of the week, we covered them in the last episode of Random Encounter a little bit, was the Sony State of Play, and what was the other one? There were two of them, but these are the ones that are like composing the Not-E3 proper. So first up, we had the Guerrilla Collective 2023 showcase. Now, the Guerrilla Collective is always the equivalent of getting waterboarded with indie titles. It's just so much. So we've cut it down quite a bit to talk about some of the games that are in our coverage, and even then we had to cut quite a few of them out because it's just a really, really great show. And it was a solid show this year.
Semi-related, we'll be hiring at RPG Fan again soon.
Yes, that would be very helpful at this point, because this week has been
so much to cover.
Yeah, Alvin is part of the news team, and the news team has been doing insane work the last couple of days. So, and a few pinch hitters. So, thank you, Alvin and others. So the Guerrilla yes. So the Guerrilla Collective 2023 showcase.
Gesundheit.
It featured some interesting looking games, some of which have been in early access for a little while. The one that really caught my attention has been in early access for quite some time is World of Horror, which is a 1-bit adventure horror game. It's going to be coming out, the full version, the full release is coming out on October 19th of this year. And it is, it's a 1-bit horror game, and it looks very, very menu based, and it looks bizarrely terrifying. Like, it's looked so interesting to me for quite some time. So I'm really excited to see a little bit more of this and hear how it actually plays.
Indeed. Wait, what was it called again?
It's called World of Horror. Great graphic style.
Oh, yeah, this one. I think I remember seeing this one a while back. They finally showed it again?
Yeah, it's been early access for a while.
Whoa, yeah, that actually looks really cool. Yeah, the kind of pixelated graphics are really well done.
Yeah, they are.
It does look wonderfully terrifying. I implore you to look it up the way I just did mid-podcast.
Which is totally fine, because, like I said, there's a lot of freaking games.
There's a lot, yeah.
World of Horror, it 1-bit style of graphics, I think it lends itself really, really well to horror, because it is intentionally minimalism. It's like black and white, or with maybe some shades of gray. So if you're inventive enough, you can come up with some disturbing stuff, and this has some disturbing stuff in it.
I still can see that, like, a lot of PlayStation 1 horror games are really scary just for that reason, where, like, they don't really look that good, and it kind of makes it scarier because the graphics are kind of, janky and dated.
Yeah, the muddiness actually helps.
I think it works in this one because it just kind of adds this, like, sort of grungy look to it, just because of the color palette and graphic style they're using.
It's black and white, but, like, the texturing is still quite vivid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, that fleshy face looks pretty fleshy and moist.
Well, moving on to something that's a little bit more, I guess it actually does involve some horror, but probably less psychological horror and more demonic horror, which is called Demon School. So this has been on our radar for a little while now. It's like it looks like a 2D pixel Persona. with turn-based battles. Looks like high school kind of stuff. Interesting graphic style, and a game that I think if you're a Persona fan, you might want to check out.
Yeah, it looks really good. I'm saying this as the Rhythm Encounter host, but every time they release a trailer, like the music they've been showing so far too, really, really good. Like, I just like the energy, the visual style, and the musical style. I think it's really, really distinctive and cool. So
yeah, I'm hopeful. It looks like it's taking some fun elements from like early Persona games. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I say 2D style Persona, I mean, well, exactly that, because Persona wasn't always 3D. There was a time. We'll be talking about that later.
Really?
Yeah, it's another good mix of pixel graphics and 3D settings or 3D environments.
Really? There's a Persona before 3?
Yes.
In fact, there are.
Persona 3, 4, and 5 are Persona 1 and 2.
If you ask fans, they'll say, no, there was 1 and 2. If you ask Atlas, they'll be like, nope.
It's such a bad joke at this point. I'm really hoping they get the Persona 3 out of their system and actually revisit 2. I don't care about 1, I'll be honest, but like 2 is at least really, really worth revisiting. I'll be a little bit sad that they didn't. Yeah.
I had so much fun playing Eternal Punishment. I would like it to be updated.
Yeah. It'd be such a good one to update, especially, I think like some of the people who are now grown up with Persona 3 kind of would appreciate the older cast at this point. Yeah, so I think it'd be kind of cool to go back to and revisit them. So they're really cool. There's a cool bunch in that.
I mean, it's kind of funny that anyone thinks that they're going to actually get Persona 3 out of their system. They're going to be milking this for a few years.
Right?
That's true. I hear the Persona 5 announcements aren't even done yet, eh? Like rumors still going around that they still have like a few spin-offs possibly in the works. There's a lot of rumors going around right now, I should say that.
Atlas cannot count to 6.
All right, as long as I can be Mitsuru and go around on the motorcycle, I'm good with Persona Kart.
Oh yeah, she couldn't ride a car. She'd have to be on a motorcycle.
Yeah, she can't even drive a normal car. She only has her M2 license.
Oh, right, licensing. Yeah. Anyway, sorry to derail. What's next?
It's okay. It wasn't derailed. It drove slightly off the road in the cart.
It's a shortcut.
It's a shortcut.
To Questmaster.
To Questmaster, which is a 2D Zelda-like that allows you to create dungeons. Basically, it's Zelda Maker.
Right.
To the point where I'm when I debuted, Nintendo was probably like,
I mean, they are not shy about the Link to the Past visual style they're using.
It looks just like it. Yeah, there's a dungeon here that looks like even the same color palette looks the exact same.
Yeah, when I say it's a 2D Zelda-like, it's actually not even a Zelda-like. It's like it's Zelda. It's
borderline about
lawsuit.
To be cease and desisted.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, look, there's a snake on a grate with only the tail that is targetable, and you have hearts for life. Okay. Yeah, I mean, they're not subtle about it. But you know what? Nintendo hasn't made a Zelda Maker yet, so someone should do it, and I think it looks really nice.
The closest thing they came to was a kind of a terrible little side quest in the remake of Link's Awakening, and it was not good.
Danpei.
Oh yeah, Danpei.
I didn't even try it after everybody like bombarded it with hate, so I didn't even try it. Like, is it really that bad?
It's just boring.
It's just boring. Yeah, it's not bad. It's just
who cares?
I did it a little bit because I think if you do some minimal
like
amount,
a fun full Zelda Maker. You just had like a few different elements, right?
Yeah, like pre-made rooms.
Yeah.
I think. And
I mean, where's the fun?
You can position them together, link them together, but
it was basically a remixer, some more than a maker.
Yeah,
I think that worked for the Skyward Sword dungeon, but I guess in practice for a little side content, it's like, no, who cares?
But Questmaster looks like pretty thorough. Like you like define like lily pads on the water, like this thing slides over here, and this is interactive, and clicking on this does this. It looks really neat.
Yeah, and there are different tile sets for the dungeons.
That could be fun. I hear like the stuff that like the Zelda team goes through to make those puzzles is super, super difficult. So I think it might be cool to like actually harbor that interest in people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it will be too.
Because I would know, like kind of like Mario Maker, people have made some fascinating stuff with it. So it'd be cool to see what can be done with the Zelda format instead.
Well, there have been prior Zelda quest makers in the past. Some of them are actually quite good. That people can build their own Zelda quests, their Zelda stories. I'm not even talking about fan hacks like Parallel Worlds. I mean, just like
I do hear there's a few great fan hacks too. Actually, at this point, like it's been around so long. Of course, there is.
Oh yeah, I mean, including just fan hacks like the randomizer, for example, but also Parallel Worlds and a few others. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what people can do with a tool that is specifically designed to create dungeons. I don't think they're doing overworld though, so it'll be interesting to see how the dungeons are linked, if there's going to be a story. Like, is it going to be an RPG, I guess an RPG maker style of game, or is it just going to be focused on the dungeons?
That'd actually be pretty interesting to have a story mode in it.
Yeah.
You get through the story after you've designed 8 dungeons for it.
I know one of the more interesting things I played early on when Mario Maker 2 came out was we found a level someone made that was basically set up like a Metroid game.
Oh, geez.
So
and you had to escape.
Yeah, you had to escape. Like
that's
you
cool.
can go back and forth, and like I didn't think you could even build something like that out of it. So if this has enough tools to like really let people break the mold, that would be interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. As someone who just finished Tears of the Kingdom, I'm a little Zelda'd out right now, but it does look pretty cool.
How dare you?
Look, you reach 140 hours, see how you feel.
I'm at 95, friend, and I'm not feeling that yet. So we'll see. We'll see if that changes in 50 more hours.
We'll see. Well, let's move on to another game that's been inspired by the 1990s, which is Sacrifier. So Sacrifier we've seen it before. We've seen some visuals and some trailers of it. It has a HD 2D style of graphics. Obviously very intentionally inspired by RPGs of the 90s. Specifically, I would say the PlayStation era. It looks pretty damn good.
Yeah. I felt like it was one of the earlier ones that like was announced with this like Octopath style graphic.
The environments look really nice.
Yeah. I mean,
other ones are gorgeous.
Other ones have been announced and released in the meantime. I think this one's been in development for longer than a lot, but what we've seen so far, like it shows, like it looks like it's very polished and shaping up to be something really cool.
Well, hopefully it is. I mean, it's been in the works for quite some time. We still don't have a release date yet, even with the stuff we've seen. I don't think we do anyway.
No,
it's very easy to lose track of news at this point. And it has music from Sakuraba? Yes, Sakuraba.
Is he doing the whole soundtrack or just parts of it? Because he's
I don't remember on that one because like so many, right? Yeah, so many of these, especially when there's like a Kickstarter campaign, like they do get like some famous composers as a guest, but like their trailer just has his name. So
dang.
I hope it is just him because otherwise that would not be fair to anyone else on the soundtrack.
Yeah, I believe it just says music by. So
wow.
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
It doesn't say contributions.
He does so many other things. He's probably like, what's one more soundtrack?
Yeah.
Right.
I'm good at this at this point. Let's crack one out.
Yeah.
Ooh, they changed the logo font for Sacrifier. Looks nice.
Furthering the there's going to be a lot of pixel art based games in the Guerrilla Collective because it's mostly indie titles. Another game that got announced is Dark Deity 2, which is a sequel to Dark Deity, which was a Fire Emblem-like SRPG that got released, was it last year? 2 years ago at this point?
I remember, yeah.
Yeah, not long ago. Like, I wasn't expecting a sequel.
Relatively speaking.
Yeah.
Relatively speaking.
Yeah, we gave it a 91. We gave the first game a 91. Looks cool.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, we partially gave it a 91. Audra really, really liked it, if I recall correctly. Audra really liked it and gave it a 91. And Corey
did you try it and you were
not.
like, nah. Oh, okay.
Corey did not. Corey gave it a 79, which is not a bad score.
No.
Okay.
But not a 91.
Yeah. So this is going to be, it looks like it's going to be a much more, an evolution of what it is. It's, it's going to be an SRPG in the style of Fire Emblem. It's going to be loaded with various character choices and things like that. So, I mean, if you've been looking for a good, there are a lot of really interesting looking SRPGs coming out that have been announced the last couple of days.
SRPG fans have been eating good.
Oh,
again,
yeah.
Finally, after so long.
Did you watch the trailer for it?
For 2?
For 2.
I did not.
Oh, okay.
Why?
I mean,
I did.
It's very short, but the battle animations are a lot of fun. Like everyone has to spin their weapon. They're spinning swords and spinning staffs, and it's just I don't know.
Sounds like the Game Boy Advance games.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that started getting really nice.
Yeah, clearly inspired by, but there's nothing wrong with being inspired by.
No.
Speaking of inspiration, a game that we have been looking at for years now. I think it's made 1 or 2 appearances on
Biomutant.
Which we're a little late there.
Yeah, okay.
I was going to say WrestleQuest, but yes.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah.
WrestleQuest has appeared on a number of our looking forward to.
I think I feel like it debuted last summer's thing.
Was it last summer? I feel like it was longer than that. But anyway.
There was
no.
another similar game, I think, that involved maybe not wrestling, but just kind of these...
Wrestle Story.
Yeah.
Wrestle Story's a new one, yeah.
Yeah. Well, WrestleQuest is, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a wrestling RPG. But more importantly than that, it actually
Finally.
does... Yes. Finally, it's such an obvious idea. So it's been out for like the demos and various things. There's a demo of it, right? I think so.
I lost track, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't know that there has been on this one, but I can say it was announced last March, so it is actually fun.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Those news story titles.
And it does feature actual like wrestlers, and specifically wrestlers that I remember from when I was a kid, like Jake the Snake Roberts. I was supposed to say Snake the Jake. That doesn't make any grammatical sense as a name. Macho Man Randy Savage. So there's like identifiable wrestlers in this game. And it's going to be a pretty standard 2D turn-based RPG. Enemies are on the world map, so you can avoid them. There's going to be, classic RPG puzzles and dungeons. It's just going to be themed after wrestling.
I think it looks like a lot of fun. Like this,
Yeah.
I am not part of the wrestling world or community, but I know that every time that game comes up at RPG Fan, all the people who are really excited about it.
All right.
And it seems to be like it's really, it's made by people that really know and understand this stuff. So,
All right. I've got to say it.
What?
Out of nowhere, it's WrestleQuest with a steel chair.
All right, thank you.
I mean,
You're welcome.
That's how they should launch it. They should just do a shadow drop and create an animation of one of the characters hitting the person watching with a chair.
Yeah, just suddenly the game is out.
There you go. That's all you need.
Uh-huh.
We got to contact the marketing team about this.
Yep.
Let's work
do
together.
it.
You can see the trailer. You can visualize it. Speaking of things that I can visualize, because I've been visualizing it for a while, and okay, I have a disclaimer for this game.
Y'all podcast people and your segues are incredible.
Thank you. It's a game called Little Guardsman, it's a LucasArts style adventure game that's a mix of point and click adventure game and also Papers, Please. And this
Hang on, I'm Googling it.
It's Canadian, Steph.
Ooh, I like that.
Yes. And the reason why I know it's Canadian is because one of the founders of the company who is creating it, and yeah, it's very cute. One of the founders is a very, very old friend of mine who I worked with in music theater for years. So that's my disclosure there. I know Scott Christian really well. And I know some of the writers of this game because it's Toronto based, it's Canadian. And yeah, it looks really, really good. Like, ignoring the fact that I know people involved, I would want to play it anyway.
I got to admit, I'm laughing at the line in some of the screenshots about Cyclops. How interesting. I have a drawer full of monocles at home that I've been meaning to do something with.
Yeah. I don't know anyone making this game, and I think it looks adorable.
Yep. It's really cute.
I actually...
Oh my god, the Cyclops eye is so wide.
Yeah. When it was announced
so
like months ago, I saw the screenshots, but I watched the new trailer for this event, and it just looks adorable. And like the voice acting is spot on.
Yeah.
Yes. Obviously, I'm not going to be reviewing it because that would be a conflict of interest, but we'll likely review it, and I'll give it to somebody who I trust.
These like high cartoony graphic indie games are getting super impressive lately.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
Yeah. Like we had that one that was like the old school medieval manuscript last year. Oh my god, I'm brain farting.
Pentiment, yeah.
Pentiment's gorgeous.
Wow. What a fun ride.
There was one, Jono, you might know what it was. It's like, it looks like an old Disney movie, but it's like it's a horror game. I don't think it's something we cover, but the animation was like, it looked like you were watching a Disney movie from like the 50s or something. Like she looks like vaguely Snow White-ish, but like the animation and everything.
She's got Aurora's dress.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It looks neat. Like, it's one of those things like Little Guardsman where you're like, huh. Like, even now, I'm still surprised seeing that kind of animation in a game, and it's really cool.
Yeah. I mean, there was one game, we don't cover it. At first, it looked like a ripoff of Cuphead. And it still kind of does because it has
with the wizards.
Yeah, that looks neat.
With the wizards. But then they kept showing things, and it kept shifting animation styles. So it like starts as like kind of a Cuphead-esque 1920s, 30s rubber hose style animation, but then it would switch between that and like anime and a few others. So that looks kind of neat.
It does.
Oh my god, that's a lot of assets to make then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, and especially to make them look not just good, but also the brilliance of Cuphead is that there's nothing about that game that does not look 100% authentic of the era that they're trying to replicate.
Right.
So putting in the effort to do that for so many different graphic styles would be a lot of work.
Yeah.
At least I think it'd be a lot of work. Anyway, so there were a lot more games in the Guerrilla Collective showcase that we are not going to cover. The last one we are going to cover is probably of interest to Mike. It was called One Lonely Outpost, which it looks like a sci-fi Stardew Valley. You land on a planet, it's empty. You start to farm it, and people start arriving. Basically, it's kind of you colonize a planet using Harvest Moon, Story of Seasons, Stardew Valley style farming.
Well, that's just smart. I'm surprised nobody thought of this.
It looks really neat. There is an odd thing about it. I think last time we talked about it on the podcast is they really shifted their graphical style.
Yeah, we mentioned it in like games we'd like to see, or like upcoming games at the end of our farming episode, and that was one like when that aired or when we recorded that.
Yeah, like they shifted from complete pixel art to complete 3D environments.
They just completely redid the graphics.
But I don't know. I want to see how it turns out because it's looking a little better because it's like they're 3D graphics, but the textures look like they are still pixel based. So it's like 3D pixel things. I don't know. I'm still very interested in the setting. I think.
Wait, here I go again. What's the game called?
One Lonely Outpost.
It still looks cool. It looks different from that it used to, but I think it's a cool setting, and I don't know that it's been done before. So yeah, I want to see it.
They're robot cows.
Do they still moo when you squeeze their udders?
I feel like as robots, they wouldn't need traditional udders. You probably just like plug something in.
Interesting. I was just picturing like they don't function at all like traditional cows. Their actual function is to like clean up the air or something completely unrelated.
Oh yeah, they're just
instead
like
of polluting the air
systems.
like the cows do.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
There are actually machines like that in the Horizon games that do resemble. I think they resemble buffalo.
Oh wow. Okay.
But I do like the idea of just cows that clean the air. That's pretty funny. And instead of they just have like 6 USB ports on their underside.
Yes.
Is it at least USB-C?
Sure.
It's the future.
Okay. Good.
Depends on if Apple made it or not.
Is this an Apple
No,
cow?
it's lightning.
Oh God.
Yes. Thousands of years in the future, Apple is still using lightning cables wherever they can get away with it. Well, let's move on to what I would argue is one of the biggest shows of the Not-E3 week, and that is the Summer Game Fest. So Jeff Keighley's show he didn't even really take the place of E3, because I mean, Jeff Keighley's show was sort of the centerpiece of E3. He just kind of spun it off into its own thing. So this is like the Fraser to E3's Cheers.
I mean, I like that comparison. There was definitely some, announcements when that happened where the ESA was like, oh well, yeah, we're gonna do something now that he's doing his own thing, and
yeah.
Anyway, I think
sort of just fell in his lap nicely.
Yeah, worked out well for him.
Yeah, I like how concise the show was. Like the dude moved it along right away.
Yeah,
there's a lot of scattered and like awkward applauses.
I'm always impressed that he has a tweet ready right when something for E3 gets announced.
Yeah. Yeah, he like puts
right
up a winky emoji or some bananas.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, personally, I still would have been happy if, like, midway through he just shifted hosting over to either Nicolas Cage or ProZD. Like, I would have watched that absolutely.
Yo, Nick Cage had a lot of enthusiasm. Like Al Pacino at the last thing was just kind of there, and he's like, "Yeah, my kids like it," but like Nick Cage was totally spinning.
Al Pacino did not know why he was there.
Yeah,
no.
Nicolas Cage is just like, "I want to fuse with you." I'm like, "Okay, we're gonna fuse together."
I love that. I liked his attitude. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, I think that rather than Keanu Reeves being in Cyberpunk 2077, it would have been great if it was Nick Cage. That would have made the game. Any amount of bugs would have been worth it for that.
Oh my god! I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Keanu was a great choice, but I think he would have hammed it up further.
Keanu was sort of morphing into Nick Cage in a lot of ways, though. Like they're kind of filling the same niche.
Yeah, I guess so, right?
Let's move into Summer Game Fest. there was a lot introduced here and a lot that we do not cover. But there were some games that we cover. So let's start off with Path of Exile 2, which is going to be our back doorway to slightly talk about Diablo 4, which we do not talk about because, there's a lot going on with Blizzard. So we just don't really cover Blizzard right now. However, Path of Exile 2 looks fantastic. It's a little bit weird that in all of the stuff we've seen, there are no UI elements on the screen, which I imagine is just for presentation purposes, or that it's not finalized or something, because playing this kind of game without there being a health orb and a mana orb on either side is it's odd.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's coming. Like at the end of the trailer, they're like, hey, because they're doing like ExileCon at the end of the month. So I really think this was really just meant to be a teaser. This was meant to be a teaser, and maybe we'll see real like gameplay and UI at the end of the month.
Well, it was also featured today. Today is Sunday for those listening, so there's going to be a fun edit. But they also had some footage in the PC gaming show today. My initial reaction to it was, I played Path of Exile when it was released. I didn't still play it. I have a few hours put into it. I really enjoyed it. It seemed like I enjoyed it more than I enjoyed Diablo 3. And I think a lot of people did, which is why it got so popular. 3. Yeah. I think one of the reasons, though, it got so much traction is because Diablo 3 deliberately moved away from the realistic, bleak, super kind of gross graphic style that was used for Diablo 1 and 2. Yeah. And Path of Exile leaned heavily into it, kind of giving fans what they wanted. It's like Diablo 3 went midway between Torchlight and Diablo.
Yeah.
That's a great comparison.
Yeah. Whereas Path of Exile just leaned straight into Diablo. So, but the thing is, Diablo 4 has now course corrected, and they have leaned heavily into the bleak, realistic, bloody style. So the question for me is, what is Path of Exile 2 going to offer aside from being free? Which is a pretty cool thing, to be honest.
Probably a better transaction or payment system.
Mm.
I don't know. I mean, Path of Exile gets like expansions and updates constantly. I mean, they support that game so much. It's really impressive. So I'm curious. I'm curious though, like, because I haven't been following it too much, because they've hardly said anything or shown anything about 2. Like, what is 2 doing different from all the other expansions for the first game?
Well, they're going to be moving the storyline forward in the sense, I think it's set 20 years after the first one.
Okay.
So it's going to be, it'll be a new world. We might see some old characters return. To be honest, it's been so many years since I played the game that I barely remember it, but I do remember that I really enjoyed it.
Right. I mean, what little we saw of 2 at this is like just the animation was just really impressive to me. Like, there's so much detail going on there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to see more.
Yeah. Well, moving into something that I think that a lot of people on Stab, leaning into let's just say the anime of it all, is Honkai Star Rail SGF, which is a sci-fi anime RPG.
Where'd the SGF come from?
What's the SGF?
Sorry, why SGF? Summer
SGF.
Game Fest?
Oh, is it Summer Game Fest?
Yeah, it's just Honkai Star Rail. Sorry.
Why did I say that?
I don't know. Well, maybe you pulled it from like the YouTube trailer or something. I don't know. Anyway, yeah.
Oh, you're right.
No SGF.
Oh, okay. I just thought it was one of those weird things that anime games putting at the end of their titles.
I mean,
it's actually really funny.
It could be. The fact that you think that,
I can see it as well.
It's clearly an acronym, just not related to the game.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's just get rid of that SGF there and just say it's Honkai Star Rail, an anime sci-fi RPG with
Super
turn-based combat.
Sorry. Yes. Honkai Star Rail.
I mean, it looks good. Doesn't look like my cup of tea, but it looks like something that a lot of people would be really excited about.
It looks like what I shouldn't throw shade at Star Ocean, because apparently Star Ocean 6 is good for the first time after a couple games. But you know what? I would love a Star Ocean game like this. Like, the setting, the sci-fi looks gorgeous.
This is the one that looked kind of like Fantasy Star, and I kept saying look cute.
Sort of. It's the Genshin Impact devs. So
Okay.
yeah, like, it's on mobile now, and it's coming to PlayStation.
Yeah, it's basically Genshin's sister, so it's a turn-based Genshin, basically.
I mean, and there's a market for that.
Yeah, Genshin's turn-based sci-fi sister from the future.
And there's a market for that out there.
I know a lot of people playing it already.
They love it. Yeah, I've heard really great things.
Genshin Impact is one of those games that every now and then I look at and go, and then go, nah.
It has some of the most beautiful like world design I've ever seen. Like the
Yeah.
screenshots I've seen people share just blow my mind.
At this point, I'm concerned about how much there is and if I could ever get through it because they
Yeah,
updated
it's
so much.
because Genshin wants to be Breath of the Wild, but not. Like, when I first played Genshin, I was like, oh my god, this is like a direct copy of Breath of the Wild.
But yeah, they've kind of stepped into their own shoes really nicely. And like I said, that world design, like as much as I love how Breath of the Wild looks, I think this is just kind of a little bit higher up. Definitely it's got better graphics
sure.
to deal with that, but it's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the music's really, 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 really good.
Yes.
I had to tap out though. I didn't want to start spending on stuff, so I was like, I wish I could talk about this more.
Yeah, that's basically why I tapped out too.
But a lot of people don't, and that seems to be why it's still very popular. It's doing quite well.
If you like the mobile games, please, and you're okay with spending on them, then please reach out to us. We would love to have you help us on our site.
Because none of us do.
No, that's not true.
That's not true.
No,
I know
no.
that. Yeah, we have you, and whenever we need someone to review it, we just force Sam to download it.
Poor Sam.
Does it involve an egg? Give it to Sam. Well, let's move on to something that is definitely not on mobile, which is called Lies of P. Now, when this first was announced a few years ago, there was some deep conversation that Mike and I and some other people had on whether or not we're covering this game, because there just wasn't a whole lot out there about it. And also we were like, does the world really need a gritty Pinocchio reboot? And apparently the answer is yes, because it looks pretty damn cool.
It does look cool.
That's a bit of a change from like the initial discussion from what I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it was a little less positive at first, but so it's good to know that this.
Demo seems to have been going over pretty well with people, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it's a strange change. Like I don't mind it. Like when you see like some of the weird like automaton, whatever puppet things that are in the world, and like I can see it. Like I can see Pinocchio's a weird story. Like, and the Disney version has some really strange things too. So
terrifying.
Like,
I hate that movie.
I can see Pinocchio turned into something dark better than when Winnie the Pooh went.
Oh God, that Winnie the Pooh horror.
Yeah, when someone made a horror movie, Winnie the Pooh, because it was like public domain.
Don't get me going on a rant.
Like that's not necessary, but this like strangely works.
Okay, Winnie the Pooh was a heartwarming collection of stories for his son.
Yes.
A lot of the older fables and fairy tales were, in fact, terrifying.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
Yeah.
There's like a lot of dark Mother Goose out there. Like have like a sea monster Ariel like spilling foam on you, like hazardous foam on you.
Wow.
I think that game is coming out this year, actually. We might talk about it later.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, that just sounds like the worst way to start talking about foam stars again ever.
Ooh, see, you're not a kid, you're not a squid, you're an adult. It's from foam.
Also, if the Lies of P looks appealing to you, please also see our Autumn of Adventure back on Retro when we covered Wolf Among Us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. Creepy, realistic takes on fairy tales. There's a market there for it, and Lies of P looks really, really cool. It looks authentically old-timey. Some of the portraits, the characters look really, really cool. So yeah, we're going to cover that because, awesome. Moving on to Sandland. Now, this is an interesting, unexpected game that we saw.
Oh my god, it looks so cool.
Yeah, it's from the creator of Dragon Ball Z. It was like I think it was like a one-off manga that he created.
That's correct.
Yeah. In what?
Yeah.
2000 or 2010? Like, I think it was 2000. It said.
I am obsessed with like the really weird bubble machinery that Toriyama draws, and I love how beautifully it looks here. I can't get over that trailer. It's so cool.
It was 2000. It was serialized in a magazine between May and August of 2000. So it's not... Oh, and there was a animated film, a CGI animated film made of it years ago. And no, not years ago. It was... Oh, it's not even out yet. It's going to be released in 2023.
Oh,
August.
well, there you go. Yeah.
I'm actually stunned, though. I'm always stunned just how beautiful, like, Toriyama's, your distinct art style translates to 3D. It looks so good.
I know. I love how they did it here. Like
it's so vibrant.
And the way that
cool.
like things are shaded and
yeah,
it's neat. Like it still looks illustrated.
I think a lot of people are really kind of catching on this one just because it just looks so cool. It looks a lot of fun too. I love kind of just tinkering with stupid machinery. I think it'll be a blast.
A lot of anime a lot of anime when it's animated style when it's translated into 3D, it doesn't work, or it looks boring or generic. But it doesn't. This guy's work seems to always work in 3D.
Yeah. He draws a lot of interesting characters too. Like he's not afraid to create like some sort of like 500-pound, kind of cozy, adorable plushy looking demon, and it just works.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
He just kind of throws out like all these kind of interesting designs. And again, I think it's another reason Sandland looks so interesting is that the cast just looks totally out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that it's so like textured, and because obviously his style would always work if you do like flat like cell shading or anime style.
His monster design is always kind of fun and funny and perfect.
I was disappointed I didn't get to go see it. I mean, they had appointments available, but they were all booked up already.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, that's a sign of how popular this thing is that it got booked up that fast when no one knew about this a couple of days ago.
I know, exactly.
Uh-huh.
I remember like a bunch of people getting up early to try Final Fantasy VII Remake for the first time at E3, but you had to go like at the crack of dawn or whatever to go wait for it. I was like, no, I'm not.
Oh yeah, there were major lines for that.
Yeah. It was a whole experience from what I heard.
I mean, you gotta wait. I think people were waiting in line to get a ticket to get in.
Yep.
So I'm glad they did tickets.
Final Fantasy VII is a popular game, I've heard.
It's a little bit.
Oh,
Yeah,
maybe we'll talk about it later.
When stupid Jeff Grubb was like, the rumors are true, I thought he was going to come out with the FF9 thing.
That would
Not
have
the
been
Rebirth
crazy.
trailer.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Do we want to talk about? Actually, no. We'll talk about it after the next game because I want to comment on the way he introduced that one.
Let's just jump the next two games because this is a good transition to talk about Final Fantasy.
Okay. So yeah, Ever Crisis.
Yeah, Ever Crisis. So Ever Crisis was announced a few years ago as a mobile Final Fantasy VII game that looked to replicate kind of a cleaner version of the graphic style of the original Final Fantasy VII on the PlayStation.
Yeah.
But it also looks like they have been using different graphic styles, like all of the different graphic styles that have, across Final Fantasy VII that have ever been used. I don't know what this game is.
It's really weird. Like, I got to play it.
Yeah, Alvin played it. So Alvin, please check in with us. Tell us, what the hell is this?
Is it an F2P or something like that?
It is free to play, but it appears to be like a remake of Final Fantasy VII again. So it seems like they're remaking it again.
We already have one of those.
Yes, and then they're going to also remake all the other compilation of Final Fantasy VII games and put it in there. And apparently there's no gacha system, but there's a loot box system. So apparently it's mostly cosmetics and weapons, which is, I guess, a good thing, because nobody wants a gacha system.
No.
Yo, my eternal frustration that there was no cosmetic options in Remake, like, still has me sad. I wanted to wear stupid dresses around the
I know,
around
that is
Midgar.
kind of disappointing, isn't it?
And like the mod scene for that has been so much fun. Well, they give Noctis like every t-shirt, hood, and like dumb outfit under the sun. I was like, why didn't they do that here? You had cool characters to play with. Give Barrett his
really
sailor
did.
suit.
Yeah.
I would have paid money for Barrett's sailor suit, hands down.
Oh my god, that would have been amazing.
I would give Tifa the cowboy hat.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that one's fun.
But you can in this
Apparently.
one, it looks like, right?
I don't know the extent.
I've seen screenshots of Aerith in like a weird outfit.
Yeah.
So.
So does that mean like the different components that they're bringing in from like side stories and other things are done in different graphic style? Are they using that to delineate it? Or
I actually don't know. The only parts I saw were the beginning of Final Fantasy VII with the Mako reactor, and before that there was some weird fight between Cloud and Sephiroth where Cloud eventually turns into Zack. I have no idea what that was all about. So.
Ooh.
oh wow, all right.
We're getting into that Kingdom Hearts wormhole, aren't we?
Yeah. Well, like I was talking
Zack
to
is Cloud.
Yeah, I was talking to Alvin a little bit earlier, and it seems like the more chibi graphic style is like when you're exploring the world, and then they use a more realistic style in battle, which actually is sort of what Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, that is basically
you
what
did have
different.
You had more realistic style characters in battle.
It kind of felt like an actual remake of the original rather than like Final Fantasy Remake, which is kind of a retread or a reimagining.
Yeah. a reimagining.
You know what? A lot of people are interested in it just for that. Like, a lot of people are indeed like kind of pissed off the remake is doing its own thing.
Oh, maybe that's why they're doing it.
PS4 and 5. So I think this will appeal to a lot of original players. Yeah,
Mhm.
so it's going to be kind of interesting to see how it's received. I heard it's pretty good. Like from reactions, they seem pretty content with it.
I was definitely surprised.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it was announced in 2021. They were like, it was meant to be like an alternate style remake that was,
More in line with people who wanted to be traditional.
Yeah.
but in a new way.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of them pulling in the compilation stuff too.
All of it, yeah. I'm such a brat. If they gave me the demo and said, you get to play the Mako reactor sequence, I'm like, I've played Final Fantasy VII
I know,
like
that's the
20
part
times.
everybody's played the most.
Yeah.
Like, anything else? Like, no.
I still remember playing the demo for the first time. Like, not the 1996 demo of Final Fantasy VII for the first time.
Yes.
Holy crap.
It was cool.
Oh, that is cool. I rented the PlayStation for that, like from
Yep.
a video store for that moment.
Just pure magic. Pure magic.
It was magic, yeah. That is definitely one of those magical, childhood moments. You're like, wow, these are the best graphics I've ever seen in
Yeah.
This is the
1997.
best anything's ever going to look ever.
Ever.
And
Can't
then
get better than this.
one of my favorite moments was
Mhm.
after this game appeared at Summer Game Fest. And I'm sorry to throw shade at Jeff a little bit, where he was like, all right, and speaking of Final Fantasy, and like you heard
Oh, it
everyone
was
in
so
that
good.
room like take a breath. And he's like,
Yeah.
anyway, here's some burrito thing with Taco Bell. And everyone just started like, ah. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know his intent. I'm not in his head. But I'm like, if you were hoping that was going to go over well and people were going to laugh, it really fell flat. Or maybe he knew what he was doing.
Maybe he was
probably
just trolling.
I think he was just trolling. But like, if he was going for a laugh, he didn't get it.
I don't think he was trolling. I think that he is just he is pretty good on his feet, and I think he said it. And as he was singing, he was like, "Oh no!"
I can see that.
Yeah. I can see that. Yeah.
I mean, generally speaking, speaking of Final Fantasy VII, Taco Bell. I mean, it works for me. Like, but
Why not?
I think people were getting. And you know what? If they hadn't shown what they showed at the end of the show, it would have been a bad move. But again, he knew what was coming. So
Well, remember when they trolled that one time where it's like, I think it was Final Fantasy VII was coming to PS4, right? Or like a whole bunch of systems too. And it's like same thing. Like,
I
we know
remember
you've been
that.
waiting for this. We know, we've heard what you've wanted, and this is it, right? And it wasn't the remake; it was just those ports.
It was just
Yeah.
a port.
yeah,
I remember that.
Are they
I remember that. That was a
trolling, or-
disaster.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It goes over like a lead balloon when they do that stuff.
I'll tell you something. It didn't go over like a lead balloon. It was the final trailer of the Summer Game Fest, which was the first trailer we got for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is the second entry in the Final Fantasy VII remake trilogy, I guess. And I don't really think this. Here's the thing: I've been avoiding seeing anything about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth or remake, for that matter, because I really want to play it. I have it. I just haven't played it yet. So I've been trying to avoid any spoilers in terms of like places where the storyline deviates from the original, because obviously I know what happens in the original. So as soon as this came on, I was like, la, 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 and did not watch. But I did see, once the gameplay started, I started watching some of it. And
That part looked good.
yeah, I mean, it looks
Yeah.
like an expand.
delicious.
It looks exactly like you'd expect Final Fantasy VII Rebirth to look. It looks like an expanded version of what happens after you leave Midgar.
I was so happy to see Red.
I was too.
I know, I can't wait to play as
He
a
Yeah.
looks
dog.
so good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, he really does.
yeah.
I just want to Akami it up and just run around the field with, the cat dog.
Exactly.
Big fiery
Like a-
cat dog.
It's great seeing him playable. It's cool seeing Yuffie in with the rest of the cast after Intergrade.
Yeah, especially since all the care they took, with remake to get everyone's individual fighting styles down in this
Yeah.
new way. Like, it was great to see more of the crew fighting.
Her seeing the monster and going like, I didn't sign up for this was just beautifully on brand.
Uh huh. No, it looks so good because like, even though they've obviously expanded Midgar and everything a lot with remake, there's a big shift. I mean, there's a major shift even in the original. Like, you're in this enclosed environment, and then suddenly you have this big world. Like,
Yep.
I was been really excited about what they're doing with Rebirth for a while, because it's like they have to. It's designed differently, just how you progress. And
I'm gonna guess it's gonna be like zones and then like a time shift between the zones, and they're gonna do like the same chapter select thing, I guess, from remake.
I think the real reason why Mike is excited is because he just wants more environments to power wash.
Elena showed up in this trailer, so maybe the Turks will have more jobs for you.
Maybe.
Okay, can I just share just a pinch of salt with that? She looks exactly like Tifa.
She looks very similar to Tifa in this one.
Yeah.
She's a blonde wigged version. I'm like kind of like I like the unique Final Fantasy style, but I'm also kind of getting sick of it and wish they do the Capcom face scanning thing just a little bit more. I don't know. It's just getting a little boring. All the characters look the same.
Maybe that's going to be a new plot line in this series where they're actually like twin sisters separated at birth.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Sure.
Oh yeah, me too.
Maybe it's just her in a wig. That would be a change, wouldn't it? She just puts on a wig.
Tifa's also a Turk for some reason.
Yeah.
Was that way the entire time?
Yo, for the longest effing time, I didn't see. I said effing. You don't have to.
You can say.
You can say. I just have to bleep it out. Like, for example, I would be very surprised if they did not release a Power Wash DLC where you have to clean the chocobo farm.
Oh god,
that's gonna be a dirty barn, man. The amount of like chocobos you got breeding in there. But like for the longest time, I did not know Reno had like red tattoos on his face. I thought those were like bangs.
Me too, actually.
I didn't know what they were. I thought they were bangs. I was like, oh my god, he actually does have just a red mark there. That's cool.
I just
20 years
maybe it's also that maybe Nomura went into the office and was like, okay, here's what I want to do here. Elena is Tifa's nobody, and they're like, no, get out. You're not bringing that into this game.
Yeah, oh my god.
Bad Nomura.
That would be so funny.
You know what?
Oh no.
I'm honestly dying for his Yozora spinoff and, versing it. I want it to happen so badly. I want that stupid Virum Rex side storying stuff. It was so interesting to me.
I could have sworn they hinted that they were actually going to do one.
Oh, yes.
Dunno.
That's my game of the show then. Even if it's just referenced like this in passing. I want to see it so bad.
We still don't know when, we don't have exact details about this yet. This was the first look we got of. After a week of, I don't even want to call them teasers. Like, there were social media posts that they were posting all week. And they were just
it's like
pointless
symbolic
non-answers.
Will there be character development?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
In a Final
like
Fantasy
they even
game?
made the font larger and greener.
Will the characters fight together?
I think the first one or two, like the first one or two were like, all right, they're leading up to something. And
by the way, we're working hard on this.
Yeah, and then the last one wasn't the last one like more will be revealed soon. Like it's not even an answer.
It was so bad.
Yeah, the teasers were weird.
I really love Square Enix, but I think they're becoming a little cheesy over the years.
Yeah.
Like they're really corny now.
Yeah. Foam stars, everyone.
Like the fact they felt really bad after the what is it, Chaos game Origins? They felt a little bad about the reaction to it. I'm like, I don't know what you were expecting, man. It was a little cheesy.
It worked out well for them, though.
A little.
Yeah, I'm being generous, yeah. It was a fun game, though. Like, obviously, I got to give it credit where it's due. Besides the ham-fistedness of Jack Garland.
Yeah.
Oh, good old Jack.
It was a fun game.
Well, let's move on now to Baldur's Gate 3, which is the marketing for Baldur's Gate 3 has never ceased to amuse me because I'm pretty excited about this game. I've never played Baldur's Gate 1 or 2, but I do know the legacy of this series and how important it is. And they keep doing these trailers where at the end of it, they will show off a character and they always do it like it's Nick Fury at the end of Iron Man. And it's like they expect the audience to be like,
oh, it's him.
And because the last entry was in 1998, no one knows who the fuck these people are. So they keep doing these reveals and the audience is like, just not knowing what to do.
I'm sure plenty of people get the references. Yeah, and that's who it's for.
Like, as a Baldur's Gate 2 person, I was thrilled when Minsk showed up. I was like, oh my god!
See?
Where's the hamster at?
Woo!
So some people, but like a lot of us, it's like, it's such, there's been so many years since I get it. Like, new people to the series. Like, I'm sure a lot of people are playing 3 and have never played the others, so it's like,
it's a good way to appeal, to new and old, right?
Oh, I think it's important to do this, but they just keep doing it over and over again. Like every trailer, there's like a big reveal at the end that nobody knows, and it keeps falling flat in its face with a live studio audience, and it always makes me laugh.
Yeah. The game does look amazing, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh God, yes.
Yeah.
Did you see the thing today? Like when talking about like the city
The city.
itself?
Yeah. I have some stuff down. So they're going to be doing the entire city of Baldur's Gate rather than, it's going to be, I don't want to say open world, but it's going to be the entire city. And, fully populated. There's going to be lots of people in it. Everything you do before you reach the city is going to shape the state of the city when you get there. Apparently you can also like destroy the city if you like. You can just get on a roof and rain fire on citizens.
Oh dear.
Good.
Yeah, so there's going to be a lot of freedom in this game, as I understand it.
Yeah. I mean, I saw them talking about how I think originally they were saying like they were going to do it in like, like zones, like, you load in this and like the idea of switching it to like where the whole city is seamless was obviously very demanding, but I guess they made it work. That's really cool.
I think this is going to be something real special. And hopefully will not be too reliant on knowledge of the previous two games because, again, 1998 was the last release of it. And it would be nice if people didn't feel like they need to do homework to get into it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I have high hopes for it.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it's been, it's been in early access for 3 years now?
Yeah. So it's been being developed and I've heard good things. So
yeah.
It's always worth emphasizing just how long and complicated game development is. Like, it's easy to get frustrated at how long some of these developers are taking, but at the same time, it just does take forever unless you're a huge studio.
Oh yeah. Like the bigger games get, it just takes a long time.
Yeah.
especially if you are developing an RPG, so many of the systems and the way the systems interact with each other, like you've really got to be careful screwing around with them and fine tuning them and everything. And that's one of the nice things about early access is it actually gives them lots of data to work with to make the best game they possibly can. Like it's one of the reasons why I think Hades was so damn good.
Yeah.
And finally, the last game I'm going to mention in this show, and I've got to be honest, I am so friggin' thrilled that there has been RGG Studios was going to have their conference. I think it's on Wednesday. And I was like, I'm not going to get to talk about any Yakuza at all. And then they kept giving me Yakuza. So yeah, Like a Dragon Gaiden, The Man Who Erased His Name is coming on November 8th. It is going to be a midquel between Yakuza 6 and Yakuza Like a Dragon. And it's going to star Kiryu, but Kiryu is quote unquote dead at this point. Yeah, he's dead. He's dead. And
he's died in like 4 of the games, hasn't he? Like 4 death fake outs.
Oh my God. His disguise is killing me. Because I remember when we first saw the trailer of Like a Dragon 8, he had like platinum hair and people are like, yeah, no one's going to recognize you now. In this new one, he's just wearing a pair of Clark Kent glasses.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
It is like, that's his disguise. It's just a pair of Clark Kent, like horn rim glasses.
I can accept Clark Kent Kiryu.
Yeah. And then
I think it's hilarious. I think it'd be even funnier if he keeps running into people who he knows and they have no idea who he is.
Right. I want that so bad. Like the end of the trailer too, where he like walks in and then pulls them off and reveals who he really is. And like, please, I want that to just keep happening in the game, and just everyone be surprised every time.
Oh my God!
I thought you were dead.
Well, I think that if it was Caitlin who was joking, I think that the funniest thing that could possibly happen is he reaches up, takes his glasses, whips them off, and both his shirt comes off with the glasses. So it's the classic Like a Dragon tattoo reveal, but it's just like just his glasses.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm not going to talk too much about this because God knows anyone who listens to this show knows that I will talk about Like a Dragon a lot, and I get to mention it later in the episode too. So we're going to just move on now to Day of the Devs 2023. Now there was a lot in Day of the Devs. We're not talking about all of it. We're just going to focus on one game right now, which is a game that Alvin actually played. It's called Beastie Ball, and it kind of looks like Pokemon with turn-based RPG volleyball battles. So it's a sports game, but it's a turn-based RPG sports game, and there are Pokemon sort of creatures, and they evolve, and it looks a lot of fun. Looks a lot more fun than the one involving Pokemon with guns.
It's super cute too.
I'm loving that one too.
Yeah, so I didn't actually know about the game before I went to the show because I didn't get to watch the presentation, but it basically drew me to it because it was so cute. Like, all the creatures are really cute, and I love the graphical style. Unfortunately, I couldn't really get a full grasp of the battle system when I was playing it because 10 minutes is a very short amount of time. So,
that's not much at all.
Yeah, no.
And there's an attack and a defense phase, and apparently I didn't have enough beasties to actually do much for the defense phase, so it kind of fell flat there. But other than that, like, it's basically turn-based RPG where you throw balls at the other side and hope it passes through. So
The attack and defense kind of almost sounds SRPG-ish.
kinda. I assume it will get more
phases.
I
Yeah.
assume it will get more tactical as you get more beasties and get different combinations, and have to defend. So
Yeah, you'll fill in all the positions on the adorable monster volleyball team.
Yeah, I did the news story there, or the announcement on it. So maybe you didn't because you didn't get to play much. But did you see any of like the combo moves? Because like apparently every pairing, like every beastie has a unique combo with every other one.
Okay, that's impressive.
So depending on how you set up your team, you get different moves.
Wow.
I did not see any of that because it was the very beginning. And, well, Jeff, the developer I sat with, he did mention that they were like, every beastie pair has different combinations. It's kind of like Fire Emblem, they support each other the more they fight each other or with each other. So
right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks really cute. And I mean, I want to at least quickly mention that it is the developer of Chicory, which is adorable and I think has been very popular and done well for them.
Ooh.
So yeah, I mean, I've only played a little bit of Chicory so far, but I've always been drawn to it. So I feel like because of that game, like anything they do now, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to give it a shot because I really like what that studio is doing.
I like that someone is doing something a little bit different with the Pokemon idea of it, because there have been a lot of Pokemon likes out there, but most of them are just, well, Pokemon. Like they're turn-based battles, rock, paper, scissors, that kind of thing. So I like that someone's taking this idea of catching monsters, evolving monsters, but instead of making them fight for you, you're making them play volleyball.
yeah, I hope they're playing on their own volition.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, that doesn't seem like the moral of the story of Pokemon to me.
Well, that's what N was fighting for.
True.
Somewhere Nikki's very happy.
Yes. You just summon Nikki by mentioning N.
Oh.
Yep.
I didn't realize I would.
Let's move on now to there are two shows. One is called The Future Game Show, and the other is The Future of Play Direct. And I constantly get these two damn things mixed up in my head. They're different shows. And I missed The Future of Play Direct because in my mind, it was like, it's The Future Game Show. And I just missed it. So I watched it again later. But we'll talk about The Future Game Show first, and then we'll talk about The Future of Play Direct 2023 because I watched one right after the other. So in The Future Game Show, there were a lot of stories and stuff like that. And one of the hosts of the show, Laura Bailey, who is, of course, very, very well-known voice actor and one of the stars of Critical Role, and plays Mary Jane Watson in Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2. She has a new game coming out called Stray Gods, the role-playing musical, which looks very interesting. Obviously, the title caught me right, okay, the role-playing musical I'm in. Perfect game for us and our episode that we just did of Rhythm Encounter, Hilary.
Oh,
that's coming out on Thursday, which is going to be the episode of Rhythm Encounter on Thursday is going to be based around musical games.
Thursday.
Just missed it.
Thursday? Friday? No, next week. Next Monday. Right, we're doing alternating things. So next week, keep tuned on that. So the joke I made is Stray Gods, the role-playing musical, looks like Hades meets Hades Town.
Excellent. Sold.
Yeah, like it's an elevator pitch. If they didn't use that, they're idiots. Because, yeah, that's sort of what it is. It's like, okay, really hot, sexy gods in a vaguely anime-esque style who, I don't know if you can date them or not, but it kind of looks like you might be able to. We don't really know how it's going to play outside of... We know that there's going to be a lot of choice in this game, and that you can make dialogue and lyric choices within songs. I don't know if that's going to... Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be able to like change the song or if you'll like pick which lyrics you sing or that kind of thing.
Oh, that could be such a cool gameplay mechanic.
Yeah, as
I know,
as far as I've
really
seen, yeah, like you choose how the song plays out.
But it's a role-playing musical. I don't know if there's combat, how combat works, if there is any. I've watched a few trailers of it because I was very curious, and I don't know, but it looks really, really good. Great voice acting. Again, Laura Bailey is excellent.
It's like a dance-off, there's a clear winner there. This is just a sing-off.
I'm imagining like karaoke battles.
Yeah, right.
Sings the pants off somebody else.
Yeah. The character designs, I mean, they look really, really good. They look kind of, they don't look like Hades, but they look a little bit like Hades. The main character in the game looks so much like Jessica Jones. with a nose ring that it's a little bit disturbing.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I don't know how I didn't notice that, but now that you said it.
Yeah, she looks
Yeah,
exactly like
that's
the
all I'm
character of
seeing
Jessica
now.
Jones. Yeah, so we'll see. I'm kind of excited to play it, though, because it looks pretty cool.
That's one of the few things today that we have a release date. It comes out August 3rd.
Yay.
Okay, let's move on to the Future Game Show. No, sorry, let me try that again. Let's move on to the Future of Play Direct, which is exactly what I was talking about. A lot of interesting games here. We're just going to focus on two of them that really caught my eye. One of them is a cyberpunk horror adventure game called Psychorama. And it kind of looks like a side-scrolling adventure game with a vaguely cyborgy-esque main character, and you look in a mirror, and it's very cyber horror based. It looks really neat though. Really, really cool graphic style. And this is a game I think I'd be looking forward to playing.
This is the one show I have not watched or caught up on yet, so I will take your word for it. You're selling me on it, like conceptually.
Well, if no one's seen it, wait till I tell you about the next game. Because the next game it looks really cool. It's called In Stars and Time, and it is a turn-based RPG that has time loop mechanics in it. It uses a black and white hand-drawn art style. Classic, over-the-head RPG navigation goes into turn-based combat with your various party members. But you can just die through mundane things. Like at one point, you can slip on a banana peel and die. So it's not just dying in battle. And this is a major part of the game where your character is getting more and more frustrated about being stuck in this time loop, as you would be if you're stuck in a time loop. The trailer that got released it's a weird trailer. I saw it and I was like, this seems like the kind of game I should be into, but this trailer's doing nothing for me. Then I looked up its previous trailer that came out a few months ago, and I was like, oh yeah, no, this is definitely a game I want to play. So if you saw the trailer from the Future of Play Direct and you were like, whatever, take a look at another trailer for it, and I think you might change your mind, because it changed my mind.
Okay. I mean, I'm looking at the Future of Play Direct trailer, and there is absolutely Undertale and Earthbound vibes in this battle system.
Oh yeah, of course.
I mean, strongly.
I like the graphical style,
So
looking at
cool.
the screenshots.
I like minimalistic looking games that use like black and white and things like that. It's really hard to pull off properly, because you'd think that
That's true.
Yeah, you'd think that, okay, well, obviously they can't afford, all of it, like really
We
detailed
can't afford
backgrounds.
color in our
We can't
game. We're
afford
an
color.
indie studio. Colors for the next
Exactly.
game. We'll increase it to 16-bit palette. And
Well, exactly, but-
18-bit palette.
The less bits you use, the less colors you use, the less resources you have, the better you need to be at something in order for it to look
Right.
Yep.
visually appealing.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's
Like
true.
World of Horror.
Exactly, yeah. Or like Curse of Oberdin, for example. Just
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
That's a good
Oberdin.
example, too.
Oh, yeah.
Oberdin is gorgeous, and it is not gorgeous. Objectively, it's the kind of game you look at and you're like, oh yeah, this kind of looks ugly. And then you play it and you're like, oh no, it was gorgeous.
It's one of those games
Yeah.
that like you really need to see in motion, because a still shot
Screenshots.
Doesn't do
yeah.
it justice.
It's kind of cool,
at
but
all.
you don't get the
Mhm.
effect at all.
Nope.
No, you don't. Another game that I adore that came out a while ago, which I have been ranting about this to anyone who will play it is The Case of the Golden Idol. It is
yeah.
it's hideous looking, but it's supposed to be. Like, it's supposed to be ugly, but it is one of the best mystery games I played in years. Like, I think I've recommended to Mike, you and Hilary should just sit on the couch and play it, because you'll
Yep.
love it. That's how Amanda and I played it. We sat on the couch and we played it. It took us 6 hours to get through the whole game. We haven't played the DLC yet, but we will. And we just,
one person's trash is someone
loved it.
else's treasure. This graphic style is hilarious. I love it.
I know, it looks so good.
It's disgusting. It's so good.
Yeah, it's like intentionally kind of grotesque.
This is literally what my brother would draw. He was good at drawing these things.
It's a mystery as if your little brother drew it.
Well, keeping things moving now, because we still have a lot of games to get through, and the vast majority of them are actually from today. Today was a big day.
At the Xbox showcase.
The Xbox showcase had so much for us. I was just reeling by the end of it. Oh my God, there was so much. So they started off very strong for us with, I said it was a new Fables game, or a new Fable game. This is the one that, Mike, you said, is this the one they announced a few years ago, or is this like an actual new Fable game?
I mean, I assume it's the
be
same one, the reboot.
Yeah. This is the first time we've seen anything from it. They say that it's the first modern Fable game. They have worked very hard to maintain the British sensibility that goes into Fable, and yeah, it looks like an irreverent spin on Jack and the Beanstalk.
Sounds good to me. Mm-hmm. I didn't tune in the Xbox till like after this, so I also missed this one. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it stars oh god, what's his name? Richard. He's one of the stars of the IT Crowd.
Oh,
okay.
Very, very funny, and he's playing a giant in it. And yeah, I think this is going to be. I think it's going to be Fable, and I think it's going to be really, really cool. The trailer really worked for me. I think it was a great way to open this show.
Nice.
Yeah. And then there were some more announcements, obviously, but let's move on to the ones that we're interested in, which we teased earlier, and that is Persona. So these would have been, I have an odd feeling that many people on staff would have lost their goddamn minds if this had been announced without any kind of warning. However, both of these games got leaked a few days ago because Atlas is a leaky ship when it comes to keeping stories under wraps, unfortunately.
I mean, it has to be somewhat on purpose, right? I mean, they can't have a leak every single time. Some of it has to be planned.
I don't think this was planned. I think that if these had been surprises, it would have been amazing for them. It would have been so good for them.
Yeah.
But they weren't surprises. They were still cool though. So first one was Persona 3 Reload, which is a full remake of Persona 3. Now, Persona 3 has many, many different versions out there, and one of which recently got released again, a remaster of it. But this is going to be a full remake, and news has spread that it is a remake of the original Persona 3. So it is not going to have any of the content from Portable or any other versions of it. So no female protagonist. Aww. It's just going to be Persona 3.
A shame.
I mean, in general, I wish that these games at this point, like if you're going to have like a not blank slate, but an unnamed protagonist that is you, like you should have the option. But if they're not going to do it, at least this one, the one Persona game that had the option previously, it's like I wish they had kept it. I realize it means more development and all that, but they did it before. So,
well, I have an odd feeling that I'm just going to take a wild guess and say that at some point, in fact, it will be an option, and that Persona 3 Reload Ultra or Silver or whatever thing they want to put at the end of it will get released, and it will have a lot of the content that was released in other versions of the game, because Atlas loves doing this crap.
That's
where
true.
They will release a version of the game, and then like 2 or 3 years later, they will release a better version of the game with more content.
Persona 3 Reloaded.
Exactly.
Oh,
yes.
Man, I want that. Yeah.
I really hate that they said that this is a faithful remake of the original Persona 3, because that never sounds good to me.
But you know what? Like, aside from that, like everything else looks fantastic.
I agree.
Like, I'm really happy. This and something we're going to talk about later. Their visual style and UI design,
it's
like
so
ever since Persona 5 has just been incredible. And I love that they're taking that Persona 5 like stylization of the menus and stuff and doing it here, but in a different way.
Yeah.
Like Steph posted this like slow motion GIF of just the animation when you bring up the menu in Reload. And I've watched that thing on loop so many times. It's just so neat.
We might as well talk about all 3 of these games in one block, even though one of them came out a little bit later. So we'll pick it up with another fully expected announcement because it was leaked. But again, if it hadn't been there, okay, to be fair, this one, there were rumors floating around about this one for quite some time. And it is going to be Persona 5 Tactica or Persona 5 T. And very much like Persona 5 Strikers, which was a sequel in another genre, this is going to be an SRPG that's set in the world of Persona 5. However, it's going to have a very different graphic style from both Persona 5, Persona 5 Royal, and Persona 5 Strikers. It's going to be going for a chibi graphic style. It looks like it's going to be doing a take on the SRPG style, maybe a little bit more dynamic than we're used to. But we will not have to wait long to find out because it's coming out on November 17th. So this year we're getting a new Persona game, a new Persona 5 game at that.
I think it looks cute. It's not exactly the chibi style they use in Persona Q. Like it's slightly different proportions, but
it's close.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I like it. I think I like it for this kind of game in this setting. So it's cool. I mean, I'm at this point, it's kind of funny just seeing how many more times they're going to spin off Persona 5, which, admittedly, they did a lot with 4 as well.
True.
Do we know if Atlas themselves are developing it or if they're having somebody else do it? Because usually when they go off...
No, it's somebody else.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I was just going to say Atlas has never done an SRPG before, so it'd be interesting to see their take on it.
Who did Devil Summoner?
Oh, you mean Devil Survivor? I forgot about Devil Survivor, honestly.
Sorry, Devil Survivor, yeah. Sorry.
My bad.
I was
so
mixing
I guess
two up.
They have done it before.
But no, I've heard it's a different studio, and from what I've heard, like Atlas is like currently stupidly busy getting Persona 6 off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Like I heard that
or another title that got announced today, perhaps.
Oh,
I don't know. I mean, their official press release doesn't say anything about another developer, though.
I totally forgot about
So,
Devil
who
Survivor.
knows? It might be.
I don't blame you. I did it first too. I was like, oh yeah, that one. I even liked it too. I was like, oh geez.
You're not alone. More news out of Atlas, which this got a lot of people really excited and a little bit confused because it was a very chaotic trailer. It's a game called Metaphor ReFantasio.
Sure.
It's from the creators of Persona 3, 4, and 5. It looks like an old-timey version of Persona. Like with the graphic style is very, very identifiable, very stylish, reminiscent of Persona, but much more old-timey in nature, I guess you could say, as is the world that surrounded by it.
I'm super excited to see Shoji Meguro do a more fantasy kind of soundtrack, maybe possibly with this. I'll be really interested to hear the music.
Yeah. I don't actually remember how long it's been since Project ReFantasy was announced. I mean, I think it's safe to say that this is that game. But we've had updates at least.
Dead giveaway.
We've had updates at least since 2020 on this one, and since they're describing this one as their first take on a fantasy game, I assume it's the same thing. But yeah, I mean, it's cool. Like they've been teasing this game on and off for years, so it's cool to see a real name and actually what the game looks like, and it looks amazing.
Yeah, and it is very reminiscent of Persona's visual identity. Obviously pushing it in a very different direction, with much more fantasy oriented direction, but still super stylish. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it does.
Mm-hmm.
But boy, was it ever a chaotic trailer. I'm not sure what the hell was happening.
Fair, yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's going to be, if not more Persona, it's going to be in the vein of Persona. So I imagine that many people are extremely excited for something new, because the last few years, it's been Royal, and it's been Strikers, and now it's Tactics, and it's been remakes of, they released 4 Golden on PC, and they released it. So it's going to be nice to actually get like new content and something new out of these people, which presumably will end up being a franchise.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, I could see it if it does well, and I'd be surprised if it doesn't.
I'm cautiously optimistic because Katsura Hashino is not known for his progressive thoughts.
Oh God, yeah.
Here we go again.
It's true though. It's I haven't played any of them, but like I've followed them. It's so weird that a series that on the surface appears so queer friendly and so like no brainer queer friendliness in terms of the characters, the looks.
It was back in Persona 2 days.
That was before Hashino, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard thoughts about everything from Persona 3 onward in terms of that representation, but yeah, it is odd.
Yeah, I mean, from what I've heard, in some cases, it's not just a matter of no representation, it's also problematic representation.
Right.
In some of the games.
Indeed.
Hopefully this will not have it. Maybe, who knows, maybe they will have learned and they will have, no, they wouldn't have. We can always hope. Well, let's talk about another beloved company that is spinning off a brand new franchise, hopefully, and that is Obsidian has finally revealed footage of Avowed, which seems to be Obsidian's take on, frankly, Elder Scrolls. Now, Obsidian is extremely well known for creating what many people consider to be the best Fallout game. That's New Vegas. They also were their first game was Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2. And since then, they have created many, many games, including many isometric RPGs that are considered some of the best that have ever been created, like Pillars of Eternity and Pillars of Eternity 2, Tyranny. A few years ago, they created a game that I adore, which is The Outer Worlds, which, as far as I can tell, is it's just Firefly, the video game. And we talked about it a little earlier on this. Steph, you mentioned it. Pentiment, which is like the...
yes, Pentiment.
Yes, gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. So they are currently hard at work at doing The Outer Worlds 2. I was a little surprised that we didn't get to see anything from The Outer Worlds 2. I'm guessing that Microsoft didn't let them because they would have gotten confused. They were worried it might have gotten confused with Starfield because Starfield looks like The Outer Worlds without a sense of humor.
Starfield is trying really hard.
Yeah, we'll talk about Starfield in a minute, but Avowed, we didn't see too much of it, and what we did see, I gotta be honest, kind of looks a little bit generic fantasy. I trust Obsidian, like I really trust Obsidian. They're a developer who, even when they create something that I don't love, it's something I like and I find interesting. In the trailer, we saw that you can dual wield magic weapons. There was 2 flintlock guns, so it's old timey. It's going to be available in 2024, so realistically speaking, it'll be available in 2025. And yeah, I'm pretty excited by what I saw about this. I would like to see more, but I think that we might have a brand new fantasy RPG that might be slotted in beside the Elder Scrolls. I hope.
Yeah, I hope so too. I know sequels are always, a safer bet for a lot of things. So it's always interesting to see, a new IP like this. So.
I'm all for new IPs.
Yeah.
It's technically not a new IP. The name is, but it takes place in the same world as Pillars of Eternity, but it doesn't have any crossover in terms of characters or even locations, as I understand it.
Okay.
And then the design is different too. Like there's going to be
this FPS
person.
and yeah. Well, it's not FPS, but a little bit FPS.
Yeah, first person swords.
First person swords. I'm pretty excited about it. I've been wanting to see more of this for a while, and it doesn't quite look graphically as good as I was hoping it was going to look, to be honest. I was hoping it was going to be a little bit more of a powerhouse, but it looks okay. A very identifiable, interesting graphic style.
Yeah, I imagine it'll be more polished by the time it comes out.
Yep. Well, moving on now to something that I was not expecting, and then it took me completely off guard. It's Sea of Thieves, The Legend of Monkey Island. So it came up and I heard the music. I was like, this is impossible. They just released a new Monkey Island game. And then I saw it was Sea of Thieves. And I was like, oh, it's Sea of Thieves. Who the hell cares? But it does sound like Monkey Island. Man, they're really ripping off Monkey Island. And then they arrived at Melee Island and I lost my goddamn mind.
I'm excited for you.
So I don't know what this is. I don't know how they're going to do it. Like, it has a lot of the voice acting. Dominic Almato is back as Guybrush Threepwood.
Really?
It looks like... Yeah.
Oh, that's dedicated. Yeah.
It looks like it takes place after Return to Monkey Island, but Return to Monkey Island ended on a very definitive note about the series. So where Guybrush is in Sea of Thieves: The Legend of Monkey Island is weird. I don't know what this is. So I'm eager to look forward to more information, and I'll find out soon because it's released this summer. I still don't think it's going to get me to play Sea of Thieves, but hey, maybe. I think that the only person here besides me who is a fan of Monkey Island is Hilary.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
I just didn't know what to expect, and I was not expecting this. And I was like, okay, sure, whatever, we'll go with it. Moving on to another thing that I absolutely love, and I was desperately not expecting, is more Like a Dragon, more Yakuza. I was not expecting any Yakuza till later this week, but Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth got announced. Like a Yakuza, because they are. Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth got announced with...
that is such a good trailer.
It's so
I can't
good.
believe it.
Ichiban doing a Austin Powers, the beginning of Austin Powers 2.
God, yeah.
So cheeky.
Naked on a beach and constantly being hidden
Literally
by
and
various...
figuratively cheeky. Is
Yes,
the
very...
word for it.
Oh yeah, there's some full cheekiness in that trailer. I saw it and I did not know what it was. I was like, what the hell is this? At first I thought it might be like a weird spin-off, and where like Ichiban ends up on Hawaii and has to build a like resort empire, which to be honest, I would love to play.
Right.
But apparently this is in fact Like a Dragon 8,
Yep.
which is going to be Ichiban and Kiryu splitting the role of main protagonist.
Ooh.
We still don't know that much about it. We don't know how it's going to go. My suspicion that I talked about on another podcast earlier this year when Like a Dragon 8 was announced was that it will be half beat 'em up. Whenever you're playing as Kiryu and Kiryu's party, it's going to be a traditional Yakuza game. And whenever you're playing as Ichiban and his party, it's going to be turn-based, just like it was in Yakuza Like a Dragon. And apparently Ichiban's not in Japan now. He's going to be on Hawaii.
Woo.
Did they confirm it was
As
Hawaii?
a Canadian, this
Okay.
excites me.
I think it was Hawaii.
I think so. A lot of people have posted. Like,
Okay, all right.
So not Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And ignoring
I
that,
thought
there were
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's Hawaii because it's close enough to Japan and there are enough cultural ties there where it would have
Yeah.
relevance within Japan. And also there were more white people in this trailer than in the entirety of the Like a Dragon series up to this point.
Yeah.
So it's always so weird hearing English in a Like a Dragon thing. Like
Yeah.
not the translation, but like actual, it was weird. But you know, I'm disappointed that it is not a spin-off where it's just a full-scale business simulator, like a mini game, but a full-scale game.
I
Although,
love
who
that
knows, it
game
might be in
so
there.
much.
Yeah, it might be in there. Anyway, we're getting Naked Ichiban, and I am a fan. Moving on to Fallout 76 Atlantic City.
Nah.
Moving
Oh,
on
sorry,
to
go on.
Cyberpunk 2077.
No, if you want to, like I thought we could skip Fallout 76 for your sake, even though apparently they've definitely made the game better since you reviewed it. But
They have. I've played it since. It's better.
okay,
I would my ideal of Fallout 76 is in that like 5 years they just collapse it and make it into a single player RPG, because the world they've created is amazing. Some of the content they've created is amazing. It's like a lot of it's like a Fallout game, but it's built on such a faulty model that anything that's built on it is House of Sand, foundation of sand, built on a swamp, glass houses. I don't know.
Burned down, fell over, and then sank into the swamp.
Exactly. So they're adding Atlantic City. So they're adding gambling to Fallout 76, which is just what Fallout 76 needed.
Swell.
Yeah. Let's move on to another disaster, Cyberpunk 2077.
Wow. Intercell was not a disaster.
that also got better later.
Right?
Yeah,
That also got better later, with much controversy. So Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty, which for a while, my eyes were playing tricks on me. I thought it was called Phantom Library, and I was like, that's cerebral for Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh, that sounds
No,
awesome.
it's Phantom Liberty.
I would
Yeah.
play that.
So it's the DLC for 2077. Its release date has been announced, so September 26th this year. Its trailer is out. We get some more Keanu Reeves, and we have a new guest star who you mentioned, Hill. And yeah, I mean, I still haven't played Cyberpunk. It's on my to-play list. I kind of want to wait till I get a more powerful graphics card, to be honest.
yeah, I can see that.
Because yeah, this seems like a game that benefits from a lot of horsepower, and I'm still rocking a 1070 Ti, which is a perfectly acceptable graphics card, but certainly not what you would call not a lot of horsepower under the hood anymore. Yeah, we don't have to talk about this much, but yeah, we're getting DLC for Cyberpunk 2077. Apparently they fixed the game from its launch, so that's good news. Let's talk about Starfield for a little while. If everyone is, if nobody minds about that.
I'm fine. That I didn't watch the Starfield Direct yet. I only saw a little bit on the Xbox One.
Okay.
It's looking. I mean, it's beautiful from what we've seen.
Yeah, we have so much on Starfield. We got it was the Direct, so obviously a lot of details about it. There was a trailer that was part of the Xbox Game Showcase, where it looked good. You know, it was a trailer, it was a polished trailer. Okay, so let's just start. There are apparently 1,000 plus worlds in this game, every single one of which you can visit, which to me screams procedural generation. There's no other way that's possible than doing procedural generation.
Yeah.
That's the only possible way. You can visit every single one. You can explore every single one. Apparently you can fly into solar systems and scan each planet, which looks to harvest
familiar.
resources. It looks exactly like Mass Effect 1, like not even a little bit different. It looks exactly the same. I have an odd feeling I might even play the same. But I just don't see why Starfield, like, I guess they kept saying like, well, it's not just the Bethesda universe, it's not just Bethesda story, it's Bethesda galaxy. And like every time they said that, I was like, so you're going to fall through the world after you land on it? Like, one world is buggy. They have 1,000 of them now. Good luck playtesting that, guys. It's Bethesda. I like being hard on Bethesda because, frankly, I think Bethesda deserves it at this point.
Yeah.
I am praying that this game needs to be a slam dunk for them. This game needs to be fantastic, especially for Microsoft, because after Microsoft's last disaster with Redfall, but also Bethesda, Fallout 76, I think, was such a disaster for them. Like, their games were always known for being buggy and relying on the fans to fix after the game was released with modding. But Fallout 76 was such a disaster for them that they need to reestablish themselves as a premier maker of RPGs and wonderful games.
Mm-hmm.
And this is their attempt. And I am looking at it and I genuinely am thinking it's Outer Worlds without a sense of humor. It's a cleaner version of Firefly.
It looks a lot to me like No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
That's what everyone's saying.
Yeah. I mean, I hope it's good. I hope you're right that they learned from 76. And that, my thing is, like, they've been willing to delay it a lot, like multiple times for many, many months. So, like, I'm hoping that means, like, it will be better than we are expecting at launch, which will be good.
I know we were kind of joking casually about, like, modders being able to make the planets, and that would be fun.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah, I think that if they give modders the tools to make their own planets, that would be amazing for questing, especially. And apparently, from what they've said, modding is coming to this game, because modding did not come to Fallout 76, because they said it was for years. They were like, no, this is going to be moddable. And they're like, we can't mod it because everyone is a multiplayer game. But this is not going to be a multiplayer game. It's going to be single player. So there are going to be mods, which is good, because that's how Bethesda games have life after they're released. You can build your own ships, customized from various parts. You can build your own space outposts on planets. You can have space battles, so it's not just your player on a map. You can fly through space and attack. You can also, if you want, you can board enemy ships and take them out that way, and then you can take their ships and add them to your fleet. There are going to be robust character creation tools, including a detailed trait system. One of which they were really excited about. They were like, you can make it so you have a fan. You're a celebrity and you have a fan, and you can take the fan with you, and the fan's really annoying. And it's like, yeah, because I wanted to take Conrad Werner with me on my missions in Mass Effect.
Why would you want that?
Just what yeah, exactly.
Jeez.
They made a joke where they were like, and if you don't like your fan, you can take care of him yourself. And they like,
oh God,
wow,
they just shot him on a planet. Yeah. So apparently in this game, you are going to be allowed to be evil. Based on that anyway, if someone who worships the ground you walk on, and then you shoot them in the back of the head.
It's a weird way of showcasing, like, oh, look at the choices you can make.
That's Bethesda.
Yeah.
They were also highlighting New Atlantis, which is going to be the main hub. There are a number of cities that they talked about in here, but New Atlantis is their main hub. Apparently it's a massive city filled with various NPCs, and like they were making a really big deal about this, and I was like, yeah, I guess. But like having a massive city with NPCs and citizens in it, like its own life, that's kind of rote now.
Yeah.
Like my concern about Starfield, I have a lot of concerns about Starfield. I'm excited to try it. I'm excited to play it. I really hope it's good. Like I can't remember the last time I've hoped this much that a game is exceptionally good. Because I love Fallout. I love Fallout 3. I love Fallout 4. Like, I'm a big Bethesda fan, and they have just been a disaster lately. So I pray that this is going to fix their reputation, but I don't know. It just seems too damn ambitious. It doesn't seem ambitious. It seems impossible.
Yeah.
That they created 1,000+ worlds that you can explore, and they're like, you can explore all of them, and you'll want to. And it's like, there's no way that you've created enough content without using procedural generation.
Right. So like what's on some of like the far reaching or whatever, far away worlds, like what's there to explore? Apparently
resources. You can get resources to build like your ship or earn money, but like that, it doesn't seem like you need 1,000+ worlds for that to happen.
Yeah. Like that's what I'm curious about. Like it'll have resources. So like what is, planet 950 going to have that's different from 949? Like are there
the Zodiac Spear?
There's obviously there's obviously not unique resources on every planet. Maybe a unique lineup, So
I'm gonna just start making things up. Planet 950 has bees.
Not the bee planet.
not the bee planet. There's one planet that is nothing but
Why
shrimp.
not the strawberry planet? Strawberries and cream planet.
Strawberries and cream planet sounds great.
It does.
Right.
Okay,
Now
wait,
you got
hang on.
bee planet.
I like this now. Now I want to play Starfield. I want these weird planets to exist.
Well, thank modders, they probably will.
Yeah.
That's how you get
The
that.
joke, the joke I make to Caitlin is that you know that some modder on every single planet, you're going to look out the window and you're going to see some guy holding a sign saying Hobson Construction.
Yep.
Yeah. So Starfield, I can't remember the last time I've seen a game that actually, that's not true. The last time I saw a game that was considered to be this ambitious was No Man's Sky. And yeah.
Dot.
But
it took a while, but it did get really, really
No Man's
good.
Sky is amazing now.
Yeah.
I mean,
now,
That's true.
they're
It took years, yeah.
they're a small team compared to Bethesda, as far as I know. So
yeah, but
I mean,
Bethesda doesn't need it to be good in 5 years. They need to be good right now.
oh, I know. I'm with you, but like, it's possible.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, No Man's Sky.
It's
yeah.
It's possible. I just don't know. Also, yeah, it looks okay, but as compared to Fallout and the Outer Worlds and let's just say Firefly, it also seems to lack a visual identity to me. I don't know why. It just looks bland. There's no other way to put it for me. It just looks kind of bland to me. And I feel like I'm beating up on this game, and I know a lot of people are really excited about it, and I'm excited too. I'm just scared. And I'm kind of scared what happens to Bethesda if this thing flops. And I really hope it doesn't. But, you know,
me too.
That's fair.
we'll see what happens.
Yep.
We'll see what happens.
We'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on it. We'll be hearing more about it. It's coming out in a few months, theoretically. Okay, so we're going to move on to the last gaming show of the weekend that just was on a few hours ago, called the PC Gaming Show. And there was some stuff for us here, nothing super. There was one announcement that I suspect some people got pretty excited about. This is a game that the first one is a game that's been on my backlog for quite some time because I've heard amazing things. We recently had a really good review of it for the site. It's called Citizen Sleeper. And they announced the sequel, Citizen Sleeper 2, Starward Vector. Got a story trailer, so we didn't really see that much gameplay, but I imagine that the gameplay is pretty similar to Citizen Sleeper 1. And yeah, I saw it and I was like, okay, I really hope this is a hit for them, because Citizen Sleeper 2 was a sleeper hit. People really, really loved this game. So hopefully this one is going to be similarly popular.
Yeah. I was not expecting a sequel announcement.
I wasn't
Especially
expecting a sequel announcement so fast.
that too. Yeah. When I saw it, I'm like, the style looks familiar, so I thought it was going to be like a DLC or
pretty.
expansion. But yeah, it looks really cool.
I thought it was DLC too. Yeah. And we got 2 Metroidvania announcements, one of which looks to be an RPG, the other of which we don't know yet. So Altered Alma, which is a space opera Metroidvania. Mike, I know that you immediately were like, whoop, I want this. This looks good.
Yeah, I knew it would it looks good, but Metroidvanias, I never know if we cover them, but they're like, no, this has RPG elements.
You and I should probably have a long conversation about that at some point.
No, I'm busy.
Okay.
But
Well, Monica was trying to pitch.
Long conversation.
we do cover Metroidvanias when they overlap with RPGs, because so many do, but so many don't. This one says it does, and like it's a nice like pixel art. Yeah, it looks really stylish. Got some cool like grungy futurized. Yeah, food. Yeah, there's a restaurant called Food Tank.
What a great name for a restaurant.
Yeah.
Food Tank.
Neon signs. Hot calcuts. What's a calcut?
I don't know.
There's a Blade Runner poster. There's a pixelized Blade Runner poster.
Oh my gosh, that's exactly what that is.
All right. Yeah, it looks neat. I'm not sure how strong the RPG elements are, but hopefully
We'll find out as more gets announced.
Yeah.
And another Metroidvania that got announced is Mariachi Legends, which looks like it's like a straight-laced version of Guacamelee.
Yeah, but the visuals are actually similar to Altered Alma, just a really like sharp, crisp, pixel art in the Symphony of the Night style.
Yeah, it looks pretty.
And it's by the developers of 9 Years of Shadow, which granted did not end up having RPG elements, but at least I don't think so.
Sure is pretty.
It's very pretty. So it's cool to see them doing another game.
Okay, well, that brings us to the end of our RPG and adventure game coverage.
Can I interject? Sorry.
Oh, you can interject all you want.
There's one thing at the end, just because we're recording this during the big like multi-hour presentation for Final Fantasy 16. But they did announce that tomorrow, is this going up on Monday?
This is going up on Monday.
Cool.
If it kills me.
Well, I hope it doesn't kill you. Well,
Please don't.
They're releasing a demo of Final Fantasy 16 tomorrow, or if you're listening to this today. Anyway, June 12th, there's a demo available. So I'm sure there's more stuff from the event, but I want to mention the demo because I'm super excited about that.
Absolutely. And obviously, we will be having more Final Fantasy 16 coverage over the next few weeks because it's going to be releasing very soon.
Yep.
So soon that I think a lot of people can't believe it.
It's next week. Yeah.
It's funny how time passes. Eventually, all things happen. Well, let's, as a discussion question for today, we're running a little long, but I just want to do this because there are some games that I personally I saw this week that I just really would like to talk about, but I can't because they're not really in our coverage. But I did want to mention them very, very quickly for me. And then anyone else, if something else caught your attention, please bring it up. So for me, Spider-Man 2, I love the look of the new suit, the black suit. It looks great. Super, super excited for this game because I was a big fan of Spider-Man and Spider-Man Miles Morales. So really excited to see where they take this in the sequel. Alan Wake 2, I think I've said on this thing before that I am a big fan of Remedy and their style of games and their almost repertory company way of they work with actors and stuff. And Alan Wake 2 looks to be really, really cool and a survival horror. So super excited about that. Star Trek Infinite, which is coming from Paradox. They aren't developing it, unfortunately. When I heard Paradox was involved, I was really excited because like, oh my God, are they just doing like one of their massive strategy games, but using the Star Trek universe? It might be, but they're not working on it, so I don't know how complex it's going to be, but hopefully it'll be good. The Talos Principle 2, I love Talos Principle 1. I thought it was a fantastic puzzle game, so excited for the sequel. South of Midnight got announced today in the Xbox presentation. I don't think we cover it. We didn't see enough to be able to judge, but it looks really neat. Set in the South, looks with almost like a slightly claymation animation style, which looks really neat. Clockwork Revolution, which looks to be, it kind of shares a style with BioShock Infinite, but it's not BioShock Infinite, but it's a lot of time travel mechanics in it where apparently you can go back in time and change the past and change the world around you. And finally, Sonic Superstars. I was under the impression that the little blue black bastard was dead, but apparently not.
Sonic looks really good, yeah.
Yeah, they're doing a 2D Sonic.
I hope it can handle the
game.
co-op okay.
I heard it's using...
Yeah.
That's the only thing I'm really worried about.
I heard it's using Genesis physics.
So cool. Yeah, they've done a few like comparison shots, and it's crazy just how alike they are to the old game.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it's a huge spoiler because I thought he was dead. I really did. I thought he got murdered. The last I heard, Sonic was dead.
Yeah.
So
I know. Maybe
I
this
don't know
isn't
how they're
really
going to bring him
Sonic.
back.
It's not Sonic. It's a clone.
It's not Sonic.
Yeah.
I mean, that does sound like something would happen in some fan art. Anyway, does anyone else have some games that they'd like to mention that they saw this week that caught their attention?
So many of mine actually are in our coverage. I think one offhand,
which makes sense.
Yeah, like one I saw that I don't think is. I think it's really just kind of an exploration puzzle game. Is Europa? I forgot which showcase that was in. It might have been Guerrilla Collective, but it looks like, I don't want to compare everything to Breath of the Wild, but like it does look like one of those big open worlds. But it's very cartoony. It has a very like Studio Ghibli vibe to it. And I don't know what you do besides like fly around and solve puzzles, but it's so pretty.
Nothing wrong with flying around and solving puzzles.
Yeah.
No, it's my favorite games.
Yep.
And it takes place in terraformed Europa.
Yeah. Oh, that's why it's called that. Look, I don't read those theme descriptions. Okay, I was just looking at the screenshots. So yeah, that's my pick. Besides some of the other, like a lot of things otherwise that caught my eye, we already talked about today. But
just what you want to hear from your editor in chief. I don't read the articles. I just look at the screens.
No. Don't misquote me.
He gets a lot of press release stuff.
I know.
I'm coming up with an excuse for you. God. I was a big fan of the first game. I'm actually really excited for Alan Wake 2.
I loved Alan Wake. I don't know if you did this. When I played it last year. I downloaded a trainer which gave me unlimited batteries, and it improved the game so much it's scary.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how they handle the flashlight in this new one.
Yeah. No, I'm really looking forward to that. I don't know. It kind of tickles my mystery loving genes, I guess. I don't know.
And I love the music of Remedy games. They work with a band called
Yeah.
Poets of the Fall, who are in game. They're the in game gods of New Asgard. They're an actual band, and they're so damn good. They're like I think they're a Finnish kind of heavy rock band. I love them. I just love them so much. They do this like big operatic rock, and it's so cool.
Oh, Prince of Persia.
Yeah.
Prince of Persia.
Mhm.
They're actually going like old school style with it too. I loved that. You know, the kind of platforming.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first trailer of the Summer Game Fest.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought the art style was pretty cool, and I think it's being done by the Rayman team. So
Oh.
Oh,
that'd
okay.
be really cool. The Rayman Origins team. So that could be really. That's what I heard. I didn't confirm that, so someone can yell at me. But if so, then that's guaranteed banger right there for me.
Oh yeah.
I
I'd
agree.
purchase
That's some good looking stuff right there.
Yeah.
For me, I just want to give a quick shout out to all my city building games. There were some cool ones.
There's so many. Yeah.
And, you know, one of my best friends is completely obsessed with city skylines. And so we got a really
Yes.
pretty trailer for the second game in that
Mhm.
series.
Oh, I didn't see they posted a new trailer. Okay.
Yeah, they posted a new trailer,
Mhm.
and every single time I see anything from City Skylines, I immediately think, I cannot believe how bad EA fumbled the ball when it came to SimCity.
Right. I'm so happy how they picked up the slack, City Skylines.
Mhm, mhm.
Oh, I am too. I don't play
Yeah.
SimCity anymore, although I bought a fantastic shirt from Uniqlo a few weeks ago.
I
That it
love
features
that.
SimCity
didn't.
2000.
one.
You didn't.
I love it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I got that same shirt. Like
Oh,
the.
it's such a good shirt.
Uh-huh.
Oh my god, can we get a picture of you two wearing the shirts together?
Well,
Yeah,
we gotta
we
get
need to do
together
that.
first.
Yeah, let's meet up.
I'd be a fan of that at some point this summer.
Yeah.
I guess
please.
we'll see.
Yeah, I had one other one. It was during the Wholesome Direct. There's a game called Kato, like cat-o, but I think it's supposed to be pronounced like gato, like Spanish for cat. Although the description on Steam describes it as cat plus toast equals Kato equals buttered cat paradox. I don't know.
Anti-gravity bread emoji, cat emoji, puzzle emoji.
It's like a side-scrolling thing where you play this cat, but he's like buttered and stuff, so he can like slip and slide through like tunnels, and I don't know. It's a weird looking puzzle game, but also the idea of a cat like flattening itself and like squeezing through spaces is like what a real cat does. They don't actually have to be
It's on
buttered
point.
for that, but I don't know. It looks funny.
Okay, just so you know, I tried looking up what you just said, and I typed in cat plus toast, and the first story that came up was a black kitty called Burnt Toast stuns owner by dragging a beheaded alligator into their Wisconsin home.
Gosh.
Wow, Wisconsin.
Apparently in Wisconsin, this black cat just dragged in an entire alligator head.
Where the hell is an alligator head coming from in Wisconsin?
That's
That doesn't
something.
seem
I
like the
don't
right
know.
habitat for an alligator.
Yeah,
Apparently, Toast looked very, very pleased with himself.
yeah. I mean, yeah. That's a powerful cat.
Good kitty.
Yep.
Good kitty.
Oh, that was it. Fields and Mistria. That was the like Phantasy Star looking adorable kind of anime sim game sort of.
Yeah, I mean, it's a farming game.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
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 That was my other one.
Yeah.
A lot of Harvest Moon likes this year.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Very
Um,
much.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason for that. Harvest Moon is a very popular game for a reason. Anyway, we are running very late, so let's wrap it up here. If you are looking for a way to support us here at RPG Fan, and God knows after last week, we could use your support because we are tired. We have opened a store. You can find it at www.rpgfan.com/shop. We have our 25th anniversary merchandise there if you'd like to check out some of that. I'm a fan. It looks really, really cool. If you are curious about our 25th anniversary logo, it's up there in the top left-hand corner of the website. If you want to support us here at Random Encounter, you can do so by checking out our past episodes. The last episode we talked about specifically some of the other game shows that happened earlier. So if you missed that news, check out our last episode. And next week, well, 2 weeks from now, we're coming in with a very hot episode. I'll just say it because by then, embargo aside, it's going to be about, it's going to be about Yakuza. Anyway, no, I'm kidding. It's going to be about another game that came out that everyone loves. There's also Retro Encounter, which is RPG Fans' podcast of many topics. They just finished talking about Lost Odyssey, and next up, there's going to be a special episode, which is going to be featuring it's for RPG Fans' 25th anniversary, and it's going to be featuring the panel's favorite 25 RPG moments. So that will be super fun to listen to. We also have Rhythm Encounter, which is RPG Fans' music podcast. Our next episode features Hilary hosted. I was on it, and I'm really excited. I just finished editing it. It turned out really, really well.
Oh, yay.
And it is focused on musical games. It might have my favorite opening outtake that I've ever put in there.
Oh, no.
So, is a dandy. So I'm really excited about that. So yeah, please check that out. That will be out next Monday. If you'd like to get in contact with us here at Random Encounter, you can fire us off a message at podcast@rpgfan.com. I would adore to hear from you if you have any comments or any games that were featured in Not-E3 that you'd like us to talk about. Please fire me off a message. I'd love to get it. If you'd like to send me an email, you can do so at jlogan@rpgfan.com. You can also find me at Mastodon at jonologan@mastodon.social. I'm not the only person on this podcast with a social media presence. Why don't we find out where we can find Mike?
Nowhere. No. You technically can, but the best way is actually just email. So mike@rpgfan.com.
Cool. Hilary?
Email is the best way for me too. It's reliable. So hilary@rpgfan.com.
Awesome. Alvin?
I'm unfortunately on Twitter still at RARUTOS, Rarutos.
Cool. And Steph, where can we find you online? You're one of your many sources.
Yeah, I'm like everywhere online. Look me up as Dice SMS.
Cool. If you enjoy this podcast, please share it with your friends to help us get the word out there. You can also rate us on iTunes or your other podcast player of choice. Leave us a review. I'd love to read it. I want to thank all of you for joining me on tonight's episode. Oh my God, this has been so much to watch, absorb, take in, and then talk about over the last week. It's not even done yet, but thank you so much for giving me your Sunday night. I really, really appreciate it.
No, thank you. It was fun to talk about it all.
Yeah, this is fun.
Yeah. Well, I honestly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And thank you, all of you out there listening. This has been a big week, a lot of news, a lot of big games coming up in the near future. So we'll be featuring a lot of them on the episode. So, keep listening and remember, whatever you're playing, have fun.